There's only one thing better than keto focaccia. Guess what it is? Welcome to the Keto Baking Mechanic. Here we create, tweak, and enhance keto and low-carb breads and baked goods. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you can be informed when I have other videos coming down the pike. The one thing that's better than keto focaccia is keto sourdough focaccia. And we're going to be using a sinless sourdough living starter for this recipe. I'm so excited to share it with you. Okay, we're going to add everything into the stand mixer bowl. So we're going to start with 1 cup of your sinless sourdough living starter. So when you get your starter, your dehydrated starter, you're going to bring it to life over the course of about 4 or 5 days. When it reaches to the top of the jar, you're ready to start baking. So we're going to start with a cup of the starter. Let me just put this here so you can see. You do not have to add water to it. It's a little bit messy. Oh, I'm wasting all this. Here we go. So I'm just going to add a cup. Now, this sourdough recipe is absolutely delicious, super simple to prepare, and you're actually using the discard. So discard recipes were created so instead of wasting the discard, you could use it in a recipe. And what that means is you want to use some of your starter in a recipe instead of discarding it, although they are called discard recipes, so that you can continue to feed your living sourdough starter with your low carb ingredients. And what that does is it keeps multiplying the lactobacillus cultures and wild yeast. And yes, this is authentic sourdough with plenty of lactobacillus cultures and wild yeasts, scientifically validated and brought to life with low carb substrates. So we'll just move that over. Okay, so we're going to add your cup of starter to the bowl of your stand mixer. Then we're going to add 2 cups of warm spring water. I like it for about 30 to 40 seconds in the microwave. You do not want it too hot because you don't want it to kill the living starter, and you don't want it too cold because then it won't activate your dried yeast. So you just want to add that in there. We're going to add 2 eggs. And then a 1/4 cup of our extra light virgin olive oil. You want it extra light because that's going to help. It moistens the bread, but it also doesn't make it too dense. We want the bread to be as much like traditional sourdough as possible, but without the carbs and the glycemic spikes. Now, I just like to mix it by hand to get it all going. The machine does this, but can't help myself. I have to interfere. Okay, so we get all that mixed together. Now we're going to start adding our dried ingredients. We're going to start with our vital wheat gluten. Our oat fiber, not oat flour, oat fiber. This is a wonderful keto low carb flour because the carbs are the same as the fiber, so it ends up being 0. Our 0 carb double acting baking powder, whole psyllium husks. We're going to add a good quality salt. And then in the center of the bowl, you want to just add your SAF, instant dried yeast. As I say in all my videos when you're making sinless sourdough, is that the SAF or SAF yeast is the best in the world. It just gives this bread the oven spring that you can't really get from other, I'm sure you can get it from other dried yeast, but this one I just found is the best, and I've tried like a whole bunch of them. And sugar. I do not use honey. I don't waste the honey, and the yeast is going to eat the sugar, so that is not going to be counted as net carbs in your final net carbs per serving. Okay, so we've got all the ingredients in there. Now I'm just going to put it into the stand mixer. Bring this over so you can see it. You can use whatever stand mixer you have. I am a fan of this KitchenAid. It is a workhorse, literally a workhorse. 3 months ago, I was making some of the extensive sourdoughs that are available. The recipes are available in the membership. And in fact, when you buy the membership, the Sinless Sourdough membership, it's a forever membership. It doesn't, there's no monthly or yearly additional fees, and you have access to making 3 different styles of keto low carb sourdough. One that's high in fiber and it's great for weight loss, one that's good for lifestyle maintenance, and of course, all of these discard recipes plus more. When you buy it, the shipping is free. It's included in the price of the membership. And what those recipes do is they teach you how to create a pre-ferment with your living starter. And what that does is adding these extra steps. It takes a little bit longer to make the sourdough, but these added steps called pre-fermentation, and you'll learn what that is in the video trainings, increases, it like multiplies the lactobacillus culture and wild yeast. So the bread is super healthy. So that's what the membership does. It gives you access to these super healthy. These are healthy too. They're healthy because they're low glycemic, they're low in fat, and they're low in net carbs. But the recipes in the membership also boost up the lactobacillus culture of wild yeast in the resulting bread, which makes a huge difference for your microbiome. So I really highly suggest you check that out. Okay, we do not need to have our dough hook. The beater is okay, the beater hook, because we're not looking to have a solid dough like we would for a loaf of bread. This is a focaccia, so it can really be rough. So I'm going to lift this up, and we're going to mix this together. Start slowly. This is going to be a wet dough. We want it to be a wet dough because it adds that moisture to the resulting focaccia. Just going to heat it up a little bit. We want it to be nicely mixed. Get all the grainy texture out of it. You want to make sure that all of the dried ingredients are off the bottom of the bowl. Coming together, it's starting to smooth out a little bit. I'll show this to you once it's mixed so you can see the texture before we put it in the pan. And what you're doing now at high speed is we're activating the gluten, which is going to help give that oven spring to the resulting focaccia. And you're going to do this for a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. As you continue to knead the dough, you'll notice that it starts to pull together and it comes off the side of the bowl and it starts to collect into more of a dough shape. It's not going to be fully a hard dough or a firm dough because we've added so much water. We want this to still be a wet dough for the focaccia. I'm going to show you what the dough looks like. So you can see it's still moist, but it's nice and sticky, and that's what we want. That's because the gluten has been activated, and that's going to give us our oven spring on the resulting focaccia. Okay, so you want to get an oven-proof pan. You can use a focaccia pan, but if you use a traditional focaccia pan, then you're going to want to do a lot of spraying, because remember, this is a keto low carb bread. It doesn't have the ability like breads made from traditional wheat to, work within a regular pan. It can stick. So I like to use an oven-proof non-stick pan instead of a traditional focaccia pan, even though I have lots of those different sizes, but I like this pan. If you can find a focaccia pan that is silicone, I've yet to find one, you can use that as well. So I'm just going to use some olive oil spray. And even though the pan is non-stick, I add this because this helps to crisp up the bottom. And then we're going to add our dough to the pan. Okay, so I'm just going to cover this and let it sit for at least 30 minutes. We're going to use a Roma tomato because they don't have as much juice, which is ideal for the top of the focaccia because you don't want the top to be wet. So I'm just going to slice this into nice thin slices. And I have the extra virgin olive oil as well. Okay, so you could see that the dough has risen. It just doubled in size. Remember, it's not wheat, so it's not going to like expand a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke some holes in it, just like you would with a traditional focaccia. And all these little holes help to carry the extra virgin olive oil that we'll add as well. So I want to put lots of holes in there because some of them are going to be covered up by the tomatoes. And then I'm going to add the slices of Roma tomato. Then I'm going to add some Italian seasoning with salt. I like to use a quality salt here. And then we're going to drizzle the focaccia in the extra light virgin olive oil. And you can be generous with this. Olive oil is good for us. And this is going to add so much to this focaccia. And now we're going to place it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. We'll test it and see how long it takes. Remember, the age and the brand of your oven is going to determine how long this is going to bake. So keep an eye on it. Okay, this baby just came out of the oven. Our keto sourdough focaccia. And I'm just going to, while it's still hot, I'm just going to grate some fresh Parmigiano over the top and let that sit in. And then we're going to let it rest for a while before we enjoy this delicious bread. Oh, I'm so looking forward to tasting this. Okay, so let's try this keto sourdough focaccia. I'm looking so forward to this. Okay, I'm just going to give it a slice. Now, by the way, you can eat this right out of the oven because it's hot and it'll taste delicious. I also like to put it in sometimes for a double bake so that the outside gets really crispy and the center is soft. So you could do it either way. Just take it out of the oven and enjoy it, or take it out, put it on the oven rack by itself and do a double bake. It's delicious that way too. You get those crunchies and the softness all together. Okay, so I'm going to cut this into several pieces. Okay. Let's see how this baby tastes. Look at this. Does that look delish? Imagine serving that with your roasted chicken, bread and chicken and a bottle of red wine. Oh, I can't even imagine. I don't drink red wine anymore unless it's alcohol free, but I still have memories. OMG. Oh, that is so good. I can't wait. Excuse me. I can't wait till you try it.